Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Pac-Man here, and I'm Mighty the Armadillo here, and I'm Ray the Flying Squirrel here, and welcome for you all for the likes of the forms of the continuation of the Mexi Toys uploading schedules. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more Let's Play of the Simpsons Hit and Run for the Nintendo GameCube, PlayStation 2, Xbox, and PC. So last time we have basically completed the entire story mode. Yeah, this also means that we basically 100% through everything in terms of story mode as a result. So today, we're going to be showing you guys the extra video for the sake of the Simpsons Hit and Run by showing you guys some extras here and there, such as options menu right here, that you can able to configure your settings, mainly for the forms of controls, and especially noticeable for the sound. And heck, even especially noticeable, you can able to actually replay certain cinematic cutscenes if you wish to. However, though, level 3 movie is not included, just because of how the fact that, well, there aren't any cinematic scenes to be on the forms of level 3 around here, so... And you can also look up on the actual credits if you wanted to, but we technically already seen it, so yeah, that's basically how this goes, basically. And also you can able to actually set the actual controls showing you what's on display, and also the rumble feature turn on and off. So, yeah, it's all just a matter of the forms of trying to configure the actual amount of settings you might as well go for, so... And also, you can able to adjust the sound clips here and there, which I think it's all settled, all things considered. In addition to that, though, we have the change of the actual sounds, such as surround, and even mono or stereo sounds. So, either way, though, there's not much else to the actual options menu. Self-explanatory for the most part. It's just a factor with the actual configuration settings. So, and the next thing we'll show off is the forms of that particular scrapbook, which, if you go on to the forms of in here, basically we would be able to actually check out the actual status and all that stuff, though, which if you do somehow to able to actually just to, well, depending if which specific files you use, basically you can able to actually open up the book or check the actual game status. So that way, as you can see on screen on the bottom left corner, we got ourselves a very cool Krusty the Clown stamp where it says number 1. This actually means you've actually 100% through everything in terms of the Simpsons Hit and Run. So in this case, we have a grand total of 49 story missions, 7 bonus missions, 21 street races, 49 collector cards, 21 character clothing, and 49 collector cards, and 35 vehicles, 140 wasp cameras, 84 gags, and finally 7 movies. So... And yeah, because of this though, remember with the forms of that Itchy and Scratchy hidden bonus movie as we showed you guys from the likes of on Wednesday? Well, that would be mandatory if you really want to 100% completely done with the game. So, it's why I classified that, especially noticeable because, well, relatively speaking though, this game has a lot of replay value to it. So, and also you can able to actually see there was actually some cool photographs on certain missions and all that stuff though, which actually, kind of think about it, if you try to go on to, let's just say on here, and if you press the A button or the X button, depending on what version you're playing, basically though is the fact that it can actually teleport you to the actual mission you want to go to, so that's actually handy. Especially noticeable, you can able to actually just to continue things on with the missions and all that stuff. And of course, you get the forms of certain other collectibles like clothing, vehicles, as well as cards. Mind you, we've already shown you guys every single description of the forms of the collector cards, so I don't think there's any point we can able to actually just to try to mention about that stuff ever again. Just because, well, seems totally obvious, right? So, yeah, as you can see, we actually stumbled across the forms of the football outfit, as well as this very cool ninja outfit for Bart. It's kind of a shame that we actually accidentally ignored those costumes throughout the majority of the playthrough. That's only mainly because we have no idea where the clothing store is going to be located in level 2. We do know where exactly it is, but it has been a very long time since we actually did manage to play through level 2, so, yeah, that seems totally obvious at standpoints and worth noting for, so... Yeah, you probably get the idea about this solution right here, so as a result, if you're most able to press the A button on clothes or vehicles or cards for that matter, it just actually shows you a better close-up with those specific stuff you've collected. So, Although, generally speaking, one thing I should probably mention about this is the fact that with those hidden cars, that I don't suppose they do not count at all for the sake of the forms of 100% completion. It's just for bragging rights, I guess, especially noticeable because, well, relatively speaking though, the only thing that does matter to you though, is of course trying to able to actually experience you know, the actual regular vehicles, as well as purchasable vehicles and all that stuff though. So, yeah, you probably get the idea about that specific topics worth noting for. So, yeah, that pretty much leads us to level 1 all the way up to level 7. So, yeah, that's self-explanatory for the sake of time. And the last thing we'll show off is the forms of the bonus game, which I think in order able to actually open this up is the fact that, remember what those collector cards we've been collecting? Well, basically, this is where you essentially gonna have to unlock the ability that you can able to actually play multiplayer and stuff like that. So, as you can see on screen, we have a total of 7 courses to play through. And of course, with these up and down arrows, this means that how much laps you can have to play through. And there's also the actual change track direction, which means that, as you can tell from those specific arrow directions, basically, it tells you where you're supposed to drive into. So, yeah, self-explanatory. It kind of reminds me of the, you know, in Mario Kart Tour, where basically certain courses are usually divided as in forward or reverse form. So, as you can see, we have 5 playable characters to play around with, such as, of course, Lisa, Bart, Homer, Marge, and Apu. So, of course, we're able to actually start things off with Homer right here in course number 1. And before you start the game off, you have to choose the vehicle. So let's just go ahead and choose the probably is the best vehicle in the game, which is kind of a shame that we didn't show this off entirely in story mode. So as a result, though, we can show this off anyway. So yeah, let's get this thing to it. So yeah, let's just get started with course number 1. And this obviously takes place in, let's say the environment is actually based off from level 1, from the actual story mode. Because, yeah, again, as we said this before, in order able to actually unlock the bonus game, if I recall correctly, even though we might be wrong, let me know in the comments below. So as a result, though, in order able to play multiplayer in this game, you have to collect a certain amount of those collector cards, depending on what level you play on. So, yeah, it might be self-explanatory, at least if you know where exactly where some certain of those collector cards are. So, but again, you can actually able to actually play this game for up to 4 players. So as a result, though, well, relatively speaking, though, the only option for you though is the fact that you can only play up to 4 or 5 different playable characters. So I could possibly understand why. That because of likely space limitations or something, or perhaps maybe because that's another reason why Maggie Simpson was not even a playable character at all. Yeah, which makes a little bit sense because, you know, she's a baby after all, and thus she doesn't usually talk, unlike the forms of how it does it on the rest of the gang. So yeah, it seems kind of weird that we didn't actually get a chance to play around with Grandpa or Mo or Mr. Burns or Mr. Smithers or any other Simpsons for this matter, but that's okay, I guess. So now let's move on to course number 2. So I think level 1 is actually pretty self-explanatory, so it's just likely the easiest course in the game, and certain tracks might actually get a bit difficult though, especially noticeable if you try to take on the reverse way. Well, basically you have to know the layouts very, very well. So, because obviously if you dare crash into any walls, and keep that in mind, you're going to be able to actually cause a lot of smoke if you manage to able to crash into any walls. So yeah, just like in the actual main story mode, is the fact that you have to watch out just to not get crashed at all, because I think if I recall correctly, if you dare crash, I think you're able to actually be out of the race or something like that. Although it has been a very, very donkey's year since we actually known about the multiplayer for the sake of the bonus tracks department, because we haven't touched this mode forever because, well, we're really busy with the forms of other games in general, like let's say the forms of Mario Parties 4, 5, 6, and 7, Super Smash Bros. Melee, and even Mario Sports titles for that matter. But either way though, he knows what it is. And also another thing is worth mentioning for this point as well is the fact that before you start the race, you do realize about the fact that with the camera angle is actually a little bit different right there. Because usually it takes place in the actual top-down perspective. However, if you try to utilize the directional pad, you know, with the D-pad that usually it's been on the bottom portion of the controller, at least on the GameCube version and the Xbox version. However, though, on the PlayStation 2 version, it was actually a little bit above. So as a result, though, that you can able to actually change the actual different camera perspective, as in not only for the sake of the top-down view, but also with the forms of a simple, straightforward first person or something like that. Or potentially speaking, though, right, it's just that the camera's trying to able to look behind you. So, and even you can able to actually put on the first person view, just like the forms of how it does it on certain Ridge Racer games. So, at least as far as I can usually tell by that point. So, anyway, so let's move on to level 3, and this time we're going to be taking control of Lisa right here. So yeah, you name the rest. However, though, you can't exactly select the exact same characters together because, well, unlike the forms of how it does it on certain other games like Super Smash Bros. Melee and all that stuff, that you do have different color outfits depending on what characters you select. So yeah, you probably get the idea about that. So yeah, we're done with level 2 because obviously level 2 is actually based off from, well, level 2 in story mode. So now we move on to course number 3, which is actually based off from the forms of level 3 in story mode. And this is what the track layouts every now and then it starts to get a lot more difficult. Even though we will try our best if we're able to actually win certain races, but not all of them, mind you, because let me tell you, I'm not exactly great at these races though, because after the events of, you know, certain street races from the actual story mode, and basically though is the fact that you have to watch out for the forms of that, well, not only just, you know, trying to dodge a lot of walls that we don't crash into, but it's also about the fact that, well, during that time you have to try to able to avoid a lot of collisions. So yeah, just like it falls how it does on the regular story mode, that's basically you do need to able to actually just try to watch out to not come across into any collisions at all. So there we go. At least we came in second place, so I guess that's okay, I suppose. So the crew able to actually go a bit Apu again. Wow, he did manage to able to win the race twice so far for the sake of the forms of this particular bonus mode. So anyways, let's move on to level 4, and this time we'll take control of March. So, and this time around though we'll choose, let's go for a hover bike because, well, generally speaking, we haven't exactly used that throughout the majority of story mode, so yeah, we figure we might able to use that anyway, just to show you guys off, so. And it feels like we're almost at the halfway point in terms of the forms of, well, the bonus track mode, so. And obviously we're going to be going to the reverse mode, so yeah, it's so ridiculously fast. However though, handling on this thing though, oh, you can able to actually change direction or change the camera perspective down there. Although, unfortunately though, we can't reset this at all. It's just because of how the fact that it's just for multiplayer's sake, so I did not expect it at first, but I should just able to actually go for the, what the heck is happening there? Okay, I wasn't expecting that at first, but it seems to be more specifically with that, well, I don't know about you, but sometimes that the AI can sometimes feel a bit dumb at points, especially noticeable if they keep on crashing into any walls and stuff like that, they're about to get stuck in certain situations like these ones, so, but it knows what it is for the most part right there, so, and of course, just like it informs of how it does in the actual story mode, that basically, if your vehicle is almost gonna get exploded, basically though is the fact that you can able to actually obtain the red item, and that way you can able to actually repair the actual vehicle for almost instant, so. Yeah, because as a result of that kind of stuff though, there's not much else to explain. I'm not exactly sure what these cans are for, but let me know in the comments of what it does. Oh really? Apu again? Gee, he managed able to came first place 3 times. Gee, that seems like a very, very cool coincidence anyway. Speaking of Apu though, let's go and use him anyway in level 5. So, well, to be more specifically though, course number 5. And let's go and select, you know what, let's go for, I don't know actually. Let's go for, yeah, let's go for Mr. Smither's car, just to able to see what this car does for the actual status or something like that. It's kind of a shame that you can't actually double check on the actual you know, the actual car status on the multiplayer mode, yeah, you can only select that, or see the actual status of this during the forms within, well, let's just say, well, you know what I mean, for the actual story mode in some cases, though. Yeah, because gotta think about it though, that in level 5, as you can tell, or course number 5 is obviously based off on level 5, so yeah, you probably get the idea. So yeah, today's day is of course the Friday, the 29th of July today, in this case in 2022 today. So you noticed about the fact that recently, that ever since in yesterday, Tiana, she recently finished up with the forms of Banjo-Kazooie Grunty's Revenge for the Game Boy Advance recently. So as a result though, that we've only down to about few Banjo-Kazooie games left before we move on to the forms of a ukulele duology games or something like that. So as a result of that kind of stuff though, the only two remainings are Banjo Pilot for the Game Boy Advance, which is basically a racing game, and another one which most people are not a big fan of, which is of course Nuts and Bolts. So, but well, let's face it though, is the fact that until when it gets to the point until next year, if possible, then we can probably able to actually do both games all at once or something like that. So, oh jeez, it looks like this is gonna be the roughest race ever, especially because I keep crashing into any other like signs and all that stuff. And oh jeez, I was literally so close for that as well. But this time around though, Lisa just somehow managed to win the race somehow. Yeah, because obviously we're gonna have to take turns for able to take control of the controller. So next up we have is course number 6, and it looks like Mighty, he's going to be playing as Bart again. You know, it makes sense, because obviously this course number 6 is actually based off from level 6. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and select this particular delicate car again after the events of Set to Kill mission. Yeah, I can totally see about the fact that why you go for that car to begin with, so... By the way, with these loading screens, by the way, in this game, I just like the fact that with, I would say Itchy just somehow managed able to grab the saw and then just trying to able to saw through Scratchy's head. So, makes it pretty obvious because in Itchy and Scratchy cartoon segments, that usually it's almost like a parody from the likes of Tom and Jerry, where basically though, when the cat's character always loses and then the mouse character wins. So, makes it pretty obvious because of the forms of how there's some similarities are there. So, except the fact that unlike in Tom and Jerry, that's all filled to the brim with slapstick and comedy and stuff like that, whilst compared to in Itchy and Scratchy, well, there are still some slapstick here and there, but it goes into way above the next level with all that violence and gore and stuff like that. Oh yeah, because there was actually that one time when, in the beginning portion of the Simpsons movie, that I suppose we've already mentioned about that, with that film is now 15 years old recently, that in the beginning portion of the film, that the Itchy and Scratchy cartoon did show up from the very start, because obviously that, well, I believe Itchy somehow managed able to smash the head protection thing for Scratchy, because obviously if the helmet has gone cracked, then obviously you can't survive in space without the spacesuit, because you have to require a spacesuit in order able to survive in space, because if you don't, you're pretty much lacking with oxygen, so makes a pretty obvious sense. So anyways, let's move on to the last course, in this case course number 7, and of course I'm going to be selecting Homer on that particular course, because this is obviously based off of course number 7, so... Oh jeez, this track is gonna be, I'm not gonna lie, pretty difficult able to win, because as far as I'm aware, that it has a lot of sharp curves, and also there's a lot of gravestones trying to get in your way, and because, like you said before, this is based off of level 7 in the story mode, because it's obvious, because it's all Halloween and everything, so... Yeah, I guess that makes it totally obvious, sensical thing itself, I suppose, but, anywho. So, another thing I want to explain for this point as well is the fact that, of course, today's the day where Xenoblade Chronicles 3 for the Nintendo Switch has recently came out today, on the likes of the forms of, like I said before, on the likes of the 29th of July, and, oh my god, I'm somehow stuck! Come on, get out of my way! Get out of my way! I need to win this race! Oh jeez, March. I'm pretty sure it's March anyway, just because I can definitely noticed about the fact that with that blue hair and stuff like that, well, it's hard to explain because, well, then again, we haven't exactly paid attention to what's going on in the actual player's amount, so... yeah, that begs the question for the sake of time at this point, so... Alright, so just come to those specific curves here, and it feels like I'm gonna be on, let's say, oh! Am I in first or something? Or am I in third? I think you're in third, because it looks like that those two vehicles are somehow stopped. Yeah, I was in third, I think you're right. And this time, Lisa went again, so how, interesting right there. So yeah, that's basically all there is to it when it comes to bonus track. So yeah, because it's basically, this might be the only way that you can able to play multiplayer with. So before you end off this Let's Play right here, let me go ahead and go to options here, because I would love to see the forms of that Itchy and Scratchy bonus movie again, so we can able to sit back and relax and enjoy this particular video right here. But either way though, you guys have already seen this this cutscene already. Although, to be fair though, it just basically plays out exactly the same, so... Ooh, looks like steroids, I guess? Oh look, he's building up some muscles, or thorax, I guess? Or even essentially just run like the speed of sound, just like Sonic! Oh jeez, he's going around the world. Can't imagine about the fact that he doesn't use rings, unlike Sonic does. Oh snap! His heart explodes and he dies. So it looks like that Itchy somehow wins. I think this usually takes place in the actual athletics track and field, just like in certain Olympics or something. So yeah, that's basically kind of hilarious to see that little, you know, gore and humor and stuff like that. Even though it's not for kids, mind you, just because there's going to be a lot of emphasis on the forms of rude humor and here and there. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching our Let's Play of The Simpsons Hit and Run. We do fully enjoy this particular game, like we said, so as a result though, we're looking forward to able to actually doing the next The Simpsons game in the future. To be more specifically though, we can probably do the next game in the lineup is The Simpsons game for the Nintendo Wii and multiple platforms. Oh yeah, that'll be interesting. So yeah, I'm surprised that you guys out there will be very excited to able to notice that I'm very appreciative for able to enjoy this Let's Play. So in this case though, we'll pretty much get endings off for this point right here. So this is me, Ray the Flying Squirrel, Mighty the Armadillo, and Pac-Man here. So up next, in terms of the Simpsons game we can probably play for you guys, is the Simpsons game. But that won't be until next year in 2023, so I just want to classify that. So we'll see you guys soon. Bye. See you then.